We live in a fast-changing world where new technologies and AI seems to appear almost every day. Life today feels so far, so disconnected from my childhood memories. Almost like they belong to another lifetime. Back then, our days were completely different.
There were no tuition classes, no piles of homework,
and no constant entertainment on a screen. We didn't see being bored as a problem. It was simply part of life. 冇事做嘅時咪借點點咯。We spend a lot of time imagining, creating, or do nothing. So I wanted to keep this story for the younger generation, especially for my mommy's great-grandchildren who are now around 1 or 2 years old. Perhaps one day when they grown up, they might read this and learn about the life their great-grandmothers once lived. A life simple, humble, and full of quiet happiness. Hello everyone, what's Arjun? Today I'm going to talk about the older time. Life before the internet, smartphone, and all the constant notifications. The culture and the way of life I grew up with. It was in the 1980s and 90s. Life was so much slower and simpler. There's a saying, an adult today reads more in a single day than someone decades ago would in a whole year. So back then, news came slowly through the radio, television, or the morning newspaper delivered to the house every day. When I was little, I spent most of my time with my mommy. That's what I call her. She was my full-time caretaker from the day I was born until I was 3 years old. So even after I started school, I still often visited her, especially during the school holiday. So she was a Penang Hokkien who didn't have much schooling. As a young girl, her family gave her away to a richer household. It was common for a child to be given away and adopted by another family. There was no birth control and the world was still recovering from the hardship of World War I and World War II. People were poor, but they supported each other, living as a close-knit community. Child adoption was quite common during that time. So she went to school for briefly, long enough for her to remember her very first English lesson.
A for apple, B for boy, and then a man and a pen.
But she missed her real family very much, so she ran away and went back home. And so she dropped out of school. That was her life story. 遮个人咧生活是较简单，早起早5、6点，我的妈咪就醒了，来洗衫。早是无洗衫机，就要用手洗。搁较古早咧，伊人就要举吸迄个正水啊。好时80年、90年是有水排来接到厝内来了，了洗了衫就要晒衫。我的二姐、三姐咧，本是早就会起来了。因为伊人就要等工厂的巴士车去北海做工。我妈咪的翁咧，我叫阿伯，伊就拜神插香，了伊就去巴士买菜，有买早餐。早餐较侪我人食炒米粉啊，雲吞麵、福建麵、咖喱麵，啊無有時就有豬腸飯，閣有納西勒瑪。特別納西勒瑪較鹹，我人囡仔袂曉食，還閣有咖啡烏冰。有時一包咖啡烏巴魯薄薄加酸角咧，就1箍，所以無加值嘛。咖啡烏冰較貴嘛，所以伊就買咖啡烏紙的，了轉來了，阮家己加淡薄酸角，會使分幾若後咯。了差不多8點咧，就要叫光平哥哥起來去做工了。了食飽煮了早餐咧，我媽咪咧就要開始煮下晡頓咯，要煮要切菜要洗菜，下面煮淡薄糜啊，互阮囡仔食了有食飽了，囡仔就是去佚佗咯。早晚無手機，佚佗的物件，敢若是媽媽薩啊、不生啊。下面蛇鴨啊，本是會佚佗甲規日這邊笑，了對來對去，有時講啊，下面啊，伊就罵我人咯，講莫咧大聲，莫直講，嗰時阿妹咯，阿妹直直搞講，常舞甲規世界，舞甲塗骹甲了，規世界了，無收倒轉好勢，了嘛就罵咯。我的媽咪咧，伊性地是真好，伊講話真正慢了，都真正好氣啦。 食了下晡段就会使困，较济食饱了就爱困了嘛，所以就困1点钟2点钟安尼，困到3点起来就是看电视机，3点有做国家戏，或是第2台也是第3台5点伊就爱去准备爱煮暗暝顿，了阮囡仔是看卡通咯，5点安尼2节3节伊人工厂就对来了嘛，有时伊人就买巧克力啊、红毛糖啊，买互阮囡仔。12就爱昨下食饱饭了，才会使食红毛糖。6点就做戏了咯，第3台有功夫戏 ，TVB 的功夫戏。伊人大人就伫后尾迄边桌顶食，我人囡仔就是看紧电视机，甲电视机食饭咯。了差不多7点就报告新闻了，无咪好看了，我囡仔就写字做淡薄功课了，就会使去眠夜了去困了咯。The routine and life were simple, yet it was a truly happy life without all these gadgets, constant noise, and endless rush. We could chat, fold closer, and sing songs together, precious moments of bonding that nothing else could replace, which seems so rare in today's busy, fast-paced world.
好了，今天就讲到这里，谢谢大家的收看。喜欢我们的视频，谁人谁事聊，就请多多订阅、按赞和分享，这将会是对我们最大的鼓励。谢谢，下期再见，拜拜。